Okay, so shall we introduce ourselves first? So
Yep.
my name is Tim Wilson,
My name is Sean Collins.
and you're a councillor.
Oh yes,
and-
Councillor Sean
and
Collins. Yes, I
I'm
always
not.
forget that bit. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I
well,
try
that's
not
very
to worry about that bit.
That's very good. So, actually, I want to be a councillor, so that's another matter.
Yeah.
But
Congratulations, you've had my resignation.
Thank you.
Take over the seat. Well done.
No, not yet, Sean. And you're UKIP and I'm Conservative,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about the European Union.
We are indeed. Yeah.
And I know that you're passionate about leaving the European Union, and
Very
more
much so, yeah.
than that, you're articulate as well.
Well, it's very kind of you to say so.
So I've enjoyed the videos. So why do you think we should leave the European Union?
I think the reasons are massive. I mean, for me, it's all about sovereignty. To be perfectly honest with you, it's about whether we actually are self-governing or governed by others, because that's where we currently are at the moment. A lot of our rules, regulations, and various other things are not created here in the UK. We have to follow along, understandably, with the other countries in the bloc, if you will.
Let me stop you there.
Yeah.
So why was the bloc formed in the first place?
Well, I think we both agreed with this in our brief chat before, and obviously it was there as a protection for Europe, because obviously pieces of Europe would feel unprotected, if you will, from the mass.
So if it's there to protect Europe and to stop war, but protect Europe, I think is great. But it's clearly not protecting all of Europe, because you've got little Greece down in the corner that's being bullied by the larger countries. Am I unfair?
No, that's perfectly fair. Greece, unfortunately, has become a protectorate country. It's the seat of real history of politics has been almost eroded away.
What happens to Greece, because I know Greece incredibly well, I speak the language, is that makes me particularly agree and makes me think that Europe needs to change dramatically.
You've seen, unfortunately, what I would call the very heavy-handed nature of trying to keep certain countries in Europe once they've committed and they're in, irrespective of their own views, to the degree where it almost feels like there can be no doubt it's like bullying, and the longer that you drag a country along in that way, and the longer you keep treating their people this way, surely this is not what Europe was created for.
No, absolutely not. It was what Europe was created to stop.
If Europe was about bringing everybody together for, should we say, mutual protection, but also equally to stop what happened in the Second World War from ever happening again. It fails to do that if we treat our own member states the same way.
But we're agreed that was the original.
Yeah, the original intent.
Purpose of, and that remains the intent of.
We mustn't lose sight of the fact that that is not what the British people were.
Well,
we were not sold
in
on
the
that
in
point.
the 70s. We were sold on the idea that we were buying into or not opting out of a common market.
That's the whole point, and we have to agree that. I think
and what we're now getting is ever closer union, but Cameron has assured us we're not going to get any more closer Europe.
Yes, his deal. I won't go into that here for this video. It's very weak.
It's incredibly weak, isn't it?
You know, being honest about it, it's an incredibly weak deal. And I would happily, and I will break this down in the video, it has no legitimacy. So it has no legal legitimacy whatsoever.
This is a Gove issue, isn't it? This is a debate about that.
I have my own thoughts on it, based on the fact that obviously how the rules in Europe work and how treaties, etc., are passed. It means that what we have is a situation where, in honesty, it's like pulling the wool over people's eyes.
Yes.
It looks great, sounds good, it's a brilliant soundbite, sounds reasonable, but when you examine it in context and detail, it quickly falls apart. That's the problem that he has. You've got to try and sell this to people.
I'm not as convinced, actually. I think there is some substance there, and I think a 4-month campaign for the referendum, whether we end up in or out, is going to make so much noise that Brussels is going to have to tighten its belt or pull up its skirts and repair the damage it's done.
Can you imagine how people would feel? Let's assume the best scenario for those that want to stay in, but we do stay in. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, whether you're in or out, we have the same problems. But let's assume...
I would actually say a lot of the arguments that you're putting forward are the arguments that one could put forward to stay in, if one looks at them carefully.
In terms of...
In terms of the idea that Europe isn't working properly. Yes, Europe isn't working properly, but then I think it's not a political reason to stay in, it's a moral reason to stay in.
Well, I would argue this. I would say it this way. Let's just take Europe as roughly 45 years worth of period that we've been in.
Yep.
We've gone from owing nothing to almost 1.7 trillion of debt.
Yep.
America's not in Europe, but she also owns 17 trillion debt. We could look at each of the European countries in turn. They also owe a lot of money. kind of the system isn't working.
Yep, absolutely.
And if we're asking for more
and
time,
equally, we aren't allowed to trade with
Yeah.
the people we want to
and if
trade
we're
with.
asking for more time, they've had enough. And I would not give them any more time if I had my way. Obviously,
Yeah.
people will make their own mind up on this. But I just don't think it can go any further. And even if it does drag along, one of the problems that we're going to face as a country is, let's assume that we stay in. How many people are going to become discontented if Cameron's very words
You see, this
don't
I
hold
think
together?
this is the political motive for staying in or going out. If you take a moral motive for staying in, you would say, well, actually, we can't possibly leave the sinking ship first. If we leave the sinking ship first, maybe we're going to be safe. But we still have our neighbours next door who are going to be in a state of
I'm under absolutely no illusions that nobody is safe, whether we're in or out. Nobody's safe.
No, we're not. Because we're in a deeply soiled system.
To be independent does offer tremendous advantages against the collective club when it collapses. You are slightly protected. And that is very important, because if we're going to help other countries like Greece and various other countries that are going to look to us...
Well, of course, at the moment, we might be thinking of Brexit. Greece is also thinking again of Grexit, because it's now being told, oh, you're in the Schengen area, but we're not treating you as if you are. We're going to bar you from free movement. We're going to set up what now in Greece they're calling concentration camps in Greece, which you're not even going to run.
Which is, well, it's totally
outrageous. That is an instance of the loss of sovereignty in a way that is shocking. We haven't seen that actually since the Second World War.
No. And this is, advocates what I'm saying really here in terms of, whether you stay or whether you go, the truth of it is just all about people realising what you're voting for and make an honest, committed decision that that's the right thing for you. If you don't vote, I think this is one election where I would honestly say if somebody doesn't vote, I think this is a terrible thing not to do. I would hope that most people will vote, because what you're actually doing, you're either agreeing that what's happening currently with the UK, you're happy with it, and you want the status quo to continue, or buy more time for Europe.
This is one of these situations where you and I can promote views, whatever they may be, but in the end, individuals are going to have to make a decision.
And that's what I'm hoping. More people will, for the first time ever, maybe come out on this one and vote, because if you like what you see, and
because one of the things that we got from the Scottish referendum was this flourishing of democracy, which we would hope to see from this as well.
I really do.
We'd also hope to see a rather better treatment of people who are disagreeing with each other. We'd like to see it being a bit friendlier.
I'd like to see more open debates, avoiding the word immigration, because I think
God, please avoid immigration. Immigration will continue to be a problem whether we are in or out. That needs to be addressed in a different situation.
That can be addressed later.
And it's not simply about doing an agreement with Turkey.
No.
It's a much bigger question.
It's a much bigger question
about our political, our economic survival, and our moral responsibility.